Why study math?
When you know mathematics, you can do anything that you want.
It's really satisfying to finally understand something that nobody has understood before.
There's always going to be a need for people with math.
It's very fundamental. It underlies a lot of what we do in the world and a lot of what we understand about the world around us.
It's a language, just like being good at English and grammar, and the better you are at it, the further you can go with it.
I actually think that in a lot of cases math is really ugly, but it's very fun.
There's just so much that it has to offer in terms of being useful, and then beyond that it's just really beautiful. Why not do something useful and beautiful?
You can make a lot of difference in this world if you study math, because it gives you the basis to do all kinds of new things, to make all kinds of discoveries, and make an impact in your life, in the life of your family and friends, and to those many other people you've always wanted to help.
In 8 years, your whole life is going to change. And the important thing in 8 years is what doors are open for your career.
When you're done with your degree, you've got your pick of jobs. Lots of companies want math majors, and you can choose where you want to go, who you want to work for.
Mathematics skills are absolutely essential for coding when it comes to game development. Our programmers almost universally have some pretty impressive mathematical skills, understanding trigonometry, understanding algebra, literally everything that's built up from the base ones and zeros, the binary blocks, makes up absolutely everything that we do.
For us, math is really important, and in particular geometry is really important to visualize our architecture. As an architect, you're a very visual person, you look at space. Interestingly enough, you don't see a single equation on the walls here, because we don't think about equations, we actually think about the outcome of these, which is the geometry, the spaces we create.
I do use more maths in my job as a radiotherapist than I thought I would. When you're at school, you kind of feel that it's not really relevant to what you do, but obviously calculating patient doses and treating cancer patients, you realise you're doing something worthwhile and using maths at the same time.
Myself as a designer, I would have a vision of something I wanted to achieve, and then I'd have to work out how to make that happen. And it's the working out how to make it happen that brings in the mathematical principles and the geometry, the calculation, the ratios. For me, that's why I did knitwear, because it was a perfect blend of creative vision, visualization, but also then the sort of nuts and bolts of making something work, making it happen in reality.
We use maths all the time, really. I mean, a lot of the data we have is kind of raw data in big databases, and we have to pare that down for customers who want to use it in quite a succinct way. When I was a kid, I didn't really think I liked maths, but then I'd spend a lot of time sort of studying league tables and working out how teams could win their games in hand and jump up 3 or 4 places. So, it's kind of the scenario where you're using maths without even thinking about it, really. And basically that sort of love of football combined with that sort of mathematical process has proved ideal for this job.
People would probably think of animation as being largely creative, but because we deal with computer animation, all of the software we use is clearly built on maths and science and programming. Most of our operators probably use maths without even realising it when dealing with modelling, volumes, spatial awareness. We'll be dealing with tessellation, lighting and texturing of 3D scenes, reflections and refractions and shadows, all of which is all obviously built on maths and science.
Maths is very important to our business and to my role particularly, because at the end of the day we're here to make money. If we're not making money, we're not getting our sums right, then we won't be in business very long. People when they first come into the construction industry probably don't realise how important maths is. Carpenters and bricklayers have to do measurements, counting the amount of materials that they need. They're all calculations that those guys are doing all the time, and they probably didn't realise they had to do as much as they did when they started their apprenticeships to learn those trades.
So when I was at school, I just thought maths didn't really apply to me. I'm a creative guy, I'm into art and design and languages. I thought I'm not going to use this level of maths. But in my working life, you do. You end up in meetings with site managers, project managers, structural engineers. You need to know what you're talking about, and you need to know a really good level of maths in order to be able to not come across like you don't know what you're going on about, which is super important when you're in front of a big team of people, including clients.
I think the important thing is to understand that it is everywhere and it is used in real life, and actually to not be scared of it.
I got this job mainly through sort of knowledge of football that I'd gleaned as a kid from reading magazines and stuff, but as soon as I became part of the company I realised how integral maths was, and it kind of, you know, rekindled my love for it.
If I could have given myself advice when I was at school, I would have said, concentrate on mathematics. You really absolutely have no idea how valuable it's going to be by the time you're moving into your professional life.
When I was at school, I loved maths because of the aspects of it which were that you had an answer at the end of it and you could be sure of the answer. I think that it's difficult always to know how that's going to apply to the real world. We use maths quite a lot, convert metres to square feet and so on, but also there's a lot of geometry in architecture, basic things like getting dimensions right, but also being able to tell builders where to put things, and that involves working out the geometry of a building and being able to set that out accurately. But when you're designing a space like this one, you need to begin by setting out the main parts of it, where the columns are going to go, where the walls are going to go, very basic things, and make sure that everything that the client needs will fit within that. And then from that, you then add more and more detail, working with the likes of structural engineers who nowadays, you know, do a lot of calculations themselves. And from that, through getting more and more detail, you then get to a point that you can get a builder to price the work, and then it can begin on site. When I was at school, I learned about all kinds of things, such as trigonometry and calculus and so on. But the thing that I still use really almost on a daily basis is trigonometry. If you're working out a pitched roof, you need to know the slope of that roof, because slates only work at certain slopes, otherwise they leak. So you have to be able to work on trigonometry to check the height of the roof and the width of it, and therefore the slope of the pitch. The best thing I've found about maths is that it tells you that you can solve problems. So when you're in a creative environment and you're doing things which you don't know the answer to, knowing that you've solved things in the past and you know that there is a solution encourages you to explore new ideas.
I'm a mechanic. I probably use maths every day, measuring capacities of engines for oil, engine sizes, writing invoices, working out GST.
We specialise in Alfa Romeos, from 1960 cars through to 2010 cars. There's plenty of maths involved in being a motor mechanic. Everything from your brake sizes, measured in millimetres, to your gear ratios, you work it out. The higher gear divided by the lower gear gets your gear ratio. Your diff ratios, your clearances in your motor measured in thou. You've got your wheel sizes, which alters your acceleration, measured in the most fine detail, so the car runs right.
My favourite subject at school was art. I dropped out of maths in year 9 because I struggled with algebra and I couldn't see how it related to anything that I needed. I regret not doing more maths because I think it would have made my life easier now. I've had to learn the hard way.
I'm a scientist at AstraZeneca, one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world. I'm part of a team discovering innovative medicines that will make a real difference to patients suffering from diseases like asthma.
I'm a systems engineer at Selex Galileo. We make high-tech electronic systems for the armed forces, helping them see and keeping them safe in dangerous environments.
I'm part of the technology group at Man Investments, one of the leading hedge funds in the world. The software I develop impacts upon how we manage and invest $50 billion worldwide.
I'm a scientist and engineer for Gralita, and I produce models and simulations of the real world. The models I will produce to track planetary motion can be adapted to provide guidance for treatment of cancer.
I'm part of the design team here at Rolls-Royce, and I'm involved in designing engines just like this one. Because I've worked on the combustors for the engines that power the Airbus 380, the world's largest passenger aircraft, whenever I see it flying, I feel incredibly proud that I've been a part of powering that.